G'day guys, it's Calvin from the Car Tune Company in New Zealand. So I do a lot of work on 1UZ engines and also aftermarket computers. So this is not a 1UZ because it's a Nissan Patrol, and so it's got to be aftermarket computers. So if you're interested in those sorts of topics, subscribe to my channel and you'll see lots of interesting videos and maybe even learn something. I tend to do quite a lot of tutorials and how-tos, or more of how I do it, and then you can do it however you want. So this particular vehicle came to me, the customer had a few issues with the fueling. Straight away we diagnosed a poor fuel flow, which I might show a little bit about that. We're going to check some fuel flow on this here Nissan. There's a GU Nissan. A little bit of a hairdryer put on it with a TB45. So to check the fuel flow, fuel pressure regulator right there. Just going to pop the fuel line off it. It's not a good sign when not a whole lot of fuel comes out of that. We'll go 30 seconds. You good? Tell me when 30 seconds is up. Righto. So that was 30 seconds. We've got 600 mils. Just over 600 mils. Times 2, 1.2 litres a minute. 60 times 1.2 times 60. 70, just over 70 litres an hour. 72 litres an hour. That ain't going to be enough, man. So a quick recheck of the fuel flow. And that's much better flow, as you can see. That's really hammering out. So 15 seconds and we've got just on a litre. So that works out at about 4 litres a minute, which is heaps. That's much better. About that. And then we discussed proper mixture controls. So we opted, and I did a bit of research, so the choice was made to put a plug-in Link Ecu into it. Now, anyone who knows Link Ecus will find out they don't do a plug-in ECU for a GU Nissan Patrol with a TB45. But that's kind of irrelevant for me. I made it work. So what I used, just grab it here. ECU, plug-in Link in the box. There's the old door, the old ECU there. And basically we take the old ECU out of the casing and we fit up the Link. We'll have a bit of a look. So it's the first plug-in. Everything's a bit upside down in here. Map sensor line in. I think it's going to be a bit dark in here for everyone, but map sensor line in. And let's hope the smoke stays in the ECU. And we'll have a bit of a look under here. This has gone back together. There is the factory casing with a Link ECU in it, and here's your tuning cable coming out. And there is a map sensor line right here. So the ECU has a built-in map sensor, so we run a vacuum line in. So this vehicle already had a wideband unit. I was going to fit a CAN Lambda unit, but it's got a wideband unit up here. Controllers under the dash. So instead of doubling up, I just double checked on whether that was accurate. So I wired up a can lambda, put it in the exhaust, checked it, and this one is so close to the same as the can lambda anyway, so the mixtures are good, so I can trust that one. Just never quite certain with different equipment if I can trust them. Over here I've got a whole lot of paperwork for my research that I did. So we'll have a quick look under the bonnet. So she's quite a big beast. It's got some lift gear in it, different suspension underneath it. It's had a set of rim locks put on it. Now I am going in the back, and yes, I am getting my ladder because this thing is bloody tall. We'll shut the boot. So here we have under the engine bay. So it's had a Borg Warner turbo fitted. The customer had done that previously with another engineering and fabrication man. The blower valve was fitted, intake pipe. When he first came in, I asked him to fit up an air temp sensor. So there's the intake temp sensor, and we do have some massive intake temps. With the high flow pump in the tank, that improved the mixtures. We also fitted up some 550cc Skyline injectors, and that's a pretty simple process. A couple of spacers and a couple of different O-rings. I was actually running it up prior to that on the Link with the standard injectors, checking everything was right, and I've written a process for doing so, of how you can fit a Link Ecu into a TB45 and a GU Patrol. And when I was doing that and running it up, I suddenly had this fountain. There was this fountain under here, and the bypass. Crank some extra fuel in, and it runs. Whoop, whoop. Woohoo! Now when I rev it, it goes rich and not instead of lean. I got a water leak under here, and the bypass hose behind the thermostat blew. So I was able to find a set of hoses out of Australia. They're nothing much in New Zealand, and they were cheap out of Australia, so took a few days and those turned up. We've also had the exhaust manifold off because it was cracked, and that was welded up. The drain pipe, however, is having a bit of a fry up. It's having a bit of a burn. So we are getting, that's going back to the fabrication shop. It's getting a new intake made, because we no longer need the airflow meter, so that's coming out. And the fabrication shop's doing a new drain pipe. Normal stuff, distributor cap and leads were stuffed, so that's pretty normal. And the customer also asked if he plans to put a big winch on the front, hence the big bull bar here. So he asked for an idle up system. So there's some spare wires I can recycle, power and earth, that we can put a solenoid on. We're going to tap in a T-piece and just run an air bleed up into the top of the manifold. So that will give us some idle up. We'll also put some extra heat proofing on the heater hoses to stop them from burning. That's pretty important. And when the radiator hoses were done, it got a new radiator. So it's had a bit of a workout, this old girl. It's got 300,000 Ks on the clock. So just perfect to have it take a 300,000 K engine and put a turbocharger on it. Big intake, stainless intake as well. So how does it go? It goes actually pretty good now. It's come up much better. So if we're looking at the advantages of a plug-in ECU, they're absolutely perfect for a job where the wiring loom's in good order. And even though there isn't a specific plug-in for this vehicle, and it did take me a long time to get it going the first time. It's quite an easy job to replicate now, and the results are pretty good. You know, I'm really happy with that. I've also made a couple of changes to the transmission operation. A couple of signals going to the transmission have been changed to sharpen up the trans, especially with the big wheels. I found that it was quite lazy. So now it's much more drivable. It was running like 20 to 1 before at under boost when you nailed it, and then when it came up and it stabilized, it was about in the 13 and a half to 1, which is far too lean for a boosted engine, especially a boosted engine done 300,000 Ks. So now with the aftermarket computer and with the Link in it, all that's tunable, and we've got it just around the 12 to 1. So I'm much happier. Intake temps, because there's no intercooler, are quite high, so I have had to pull a bit of timing out just to keep it alive there. So how's it drive? How's it start? Let's have a look. Let's go for a little bit of a test drive. Customer does use it off-road, so I'm driving it in a manner that he would. Well, actually no, I'm driving it much more gentle than he would. I've seen the scratches on it, and I'm not putting any scratches onto it. You've got a Nissan Patrol with the TB45 that you're looking to turbocharge. There is now a new option. There is the option of putting a plug-in Link into it. A couple of wiring changes, and I will supply those diagrams to people who buy their computer off me. I hope that's helpful, and we'll talk to you again another day. If you like this video, make sure you hit subscribe, and we'll talk to you again. Catch you later.